First, I will ask Board Member Day if he will lead us in prayer.
Everyone, please rise if you're able, and let us bow our heads and pray. Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight to give you the glory and honor. We ask that you be with us, you watch over us, you lead, guide, and direct us. And Father, we also ask that you be with our military tonight and help them to endure all the heartache that they're taking upon themselves. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
And now we enjoy.
I pledge.
Will you join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much.
First item of business is approval of the minutes from the March 2nd meeting. Is a motion to approve the minutes.
That was last night, right?
Yep.
I second.
Any discussion? All in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. And now we have public comments. Donna Blair Painter.
Correct.
Oh, just a second.
You gonna keep the timer, or you want?
Oh, you do it.
Okay.
My
You got
phone's
it?
in the car.
Okay,
Each speaker will have 3 minutes, 30 minutes maximum for public comment.
I just was asked to give a brief description on incidents for early voting. So I was just gonna go over this much more than I would have time to say in 3 minutes, so I'm just gonna paraphrase a bunch of stuff.
So,
First-
I have just one question, clarity, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
So you're doing this as an observer? I think we've had this before.
Yeah, well, as an observer from the GOP.
That's what I thought. Okay, all right, thank you. I just wanted to clarify.
Okay, no, you're fine. So first off, the equipment issues, very little. Kudos to the new Battle on Demand, everybody loves it, very few issues. There was very few issues also for whether it was the tabulator, we had like a couple jams, but that's human error. On the whole, there was absolutely positively no issues for all intents and purposes. A couple of issues that we did have are like growing pains, and those were curbside voting. We do need an alert system of some type. That should be between now and the midterms. What's happening is, because of the locations of these voting sites, especially the new ones, you're not able to see out. It was cold and windy during voting, and that became a problem. We had voters, curbside workers sitting in their car because it was too cold to stand out in the rain, in the cold. We had people trying to look 90 degrees out the side of the door, and the sign was down. We had in Benhaven parents trying to pick up students in the curbside voting area because the sign was down, and they just thought the cones were there to pick up their kids. So, and there was nobody to put the sign up because they're all inside and because it's cold, things like that. So we really need to make sure that our curbside is accessible. Same thing, Anderson Creek. We have handicapped voters that weren't parking in handicap because they thought they were going to block the curbside voting. So there's a couple of growing pains that we really need to address. All locations did say they are very interested in having some kind of alert system curbside, so they're aware. They said, we don't want the bells back though, that don't work half the time. They would like something else. And a couple of other issues we had, things that were more to do with the fact that workers and judges are not being trained adequately. We had people not asking for ID, people asking for ID and using the ID for name and address. We had people not asking party affiliation, and this is a primary. We also had issues such as not reading the curbside oath. And those are all things that not only the workers didn't understand that they had to do, but also the judges weren't even aware. And so we were told Monday as well as Saturday that a couple of things would be addressed before they went out, and doesn't sound like from the judges we had talked to, even today, issues with oaths. Nobody's reading oaths. They thought they didn't have to read oaths. And so I thought that was going to be told to them when they picked up their stuff. Same thing, party affiliation.
Okay, that's fine.
That's the time. Thank you very much. I will say, I've been to 8 polling places today, and one had curbside voting, somebody looking at it. And that just cannot continue at all.
Well, I went to 4 and all 4 had somebody watching, so I think it just depends on where you went.
We're already addressing that issue. I've asked for
Yeah.
quotes for different types of technologies that we can implement.
But I mean, that's got to be fixed. And I did notice in one polling place, they were looking at the ID to get the address. Spoke to the chief judge, and he corrected that. Another, they were not repeating it back. The chief judge got that corrected. And they should know, this is sort of elementary things right now.
Yeah, and we do reiterate them several times, but I think a lot of them are just, and I think this is where recruiting is going to really be important, because a lot of them will do it until they get tired of doing it or they think nobody's looking. So I think it's just a matter of reiterating it constantly to them that they need to be doing this and that they are being watched.
Let me ask the members of the board, I think the April meeting would do in inviting the chief judges to our meeting to discuss any problems they may have had.
That's a great idea.
Hear directly from them. We've heard nothing but wonderful things about the ballot on demand. Everybody wants them now. But I think hearing directly from the chief judges, and that will also, if they plan to work in November, give us a chance to sort of drum into them, this is going to have to be.
Yeah.
So is that agreeable or not?
I think it's a wonderful idea.
We should do a hot wash.
I'm opposed to
Yeah,
election.
okay.
Get their comments too.
Yeah.
I went to 4 of the sites today, 5 of the sites, can't remember anyway. I was impressed about the, I will say, I'm like Danny, I didn't really see a lot about the drive, curbside voting, but other than that, I heard a lot of good things about the ballot on demand. I think that's something we need to address down the road a little bit.
And
Get a few more of those machines.
Yeah.
yeah,
I think so too.
people are still, I don't know if they call it raving, but they are pleased with Benhaven. They're very pleased at that. So we can do that if you'll just get out a letter to them.
Yeah, we can certainly do that.
If in the same breath, invite the party chairs, the 2 of them, if they have any problems that we need to address,
We certainly can.
we can certainly hear from them, because I've said 100 times, if there's no problems at the polls, we don't have problems. And we can, I think as fresh as we can do this from the members, I think it'll be better.
I did say when I walked in, I think somebody told me to please have my ID ready and.
Oh, yeah.
I'll get you, are you?
There you go. I mean, I wouldn't really tell them who I was, wasn't saying why I was there, but I was very impressed with our workers. I think overall, they were doing a good job and other than, like you said, the curbside, I think they probably do. They look like somebody was standing there at the door, maybe trying to watch
Yeah.
to see if somebody was coming up.
Every location I went to, every location I went to, I think, had 1 or 2 people.
Trying to stand there and watch.
curbside. So there just wasn't a whole lot. And in defense of the people that are looking at the IDs, sometimes it's very hard to hear people a lot of times. And then they get aggravated when you ask them to spell because you have to type in their name.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I understand, I'm not convinced that it's really against the statute, but if that's how we want to interpret it, I just, when things are going faster in November and we have more people, I just want you to be aware, it really slows it down if you have to, have the person say it to you and then you say it back. And I don't really know what harm it is, but if we want to make this a hill to die on, you know,
What
that's
is it?
fine, I just, I'm just saying, I don't think they're doing it just to like flout the rules or whatever. It is really hard to hear people sometimes, and a lot of our workers are older and can't hear, and,
Well, isn't
People
the
don't speak up.
statutory, though, in the statutory, you have to give your name and address and
I
repeat it back.
don't, see, I don't read it the same way that you guys do, and
I
I
know
can't
this-
remember the number.
I think the statute says that they have to state their name, address, and party, and then the poll worker has to announce that they're duly qualified.
Yeah.
But because we want to make sure they have the correct person highlighted, it's our policy for them to repeat the name back, just so that they know that they've got the right person selected.
It's
And
just a
so if they
security.
say a different name, then the voter can say, no, that's not my name, I'm Dan, not Danny, or whatever the case may be.
Well, I was told to get in line 4 times, so that's fine. When I stopped to vote, the man next to me, he was trying to get checked in, and the poll worker says, "Oh, you're dead." He was listed as deceased, and there he was, so they got that straightened out, and hopefully corrected, so.
Yeah.
They, in Anchor, I was going to talk with the chief judge, so I kind of, you know, how big that gym is, kind of went around the corner and said, gentlemen, I thought I was getting arrested and thrown out. He said, you're not supposed to be back there. So it was like, I've got nothing but positive things to say as far as, but a lot of them are senior citizens, but so am I. So,
And in their defense too, I mean, these guys only work a couple times a year. This isn't something they do every day like we do. You know, it's not ingrained in them as
Well,
much
on
as
the
it
whole,
is.
I didn't see any huge problem. So-
No huge problems, but, you know, maybe perhaps give them a 50-foot string so they can tie it to the front door and go out and put the 50-foot mark. And then that spray can, sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. 3 or 4 of the 5 I looked at didn't have proper marking on the 50-foot. It was just little things, it wasn't anything big.
Yeah.
And then signage. Some of these places around behind the building, they didn't have like enough signs to point you in the right direction.
Yeah, we've already gotten quotes, or we're getting quotes for more signage. I know some places they went out, and I know one place, because it's just the plastic, it tore, and so we
Right.
had to send more out there to them because what they had was torn. But then there are some instances where they have like the big wavy flag, they have it,
I
but
haven't
they
seen
didn't think
those.
to take it off the card, or they've stuck it
I didn't see
somewhere
one of
else.
those.
But every site has one of those giant 6-foot vote here signs.
I didn't see any of them.
Yeah,
I didn't see any.
they all had them, so it's just a
I
matter
didn't
of,
see any of
yeah.
those either.
So we have a note of that to do, especially more training with the setup and where things go and how to set it up and the supplies they have on theirs thing. But again, talking about space needs and being able to do more year-round training, I think will be beneficial because, you know, we go over a lot in that 3 hours, and we can't cover every single thing as well as it needs to be covered in that time frame. So I think improving our training and having them come in more often throughout the year, doing multiple trainings, I think will help too.
I'd like to add one thing. I'd take a couple of good chiefs and maybe give them 15 minutes to talk about best practices to the newer chiefs.
Yeah, that's good too.
In Florida, we have like a training segment called Train the Trainers.
There you go.
Thing.
Yep.
So sometimes we would have our chief judges teach some of the classes, but obviously with staff like present.
And I also think if we get that Integra software
I
and
think that'll
there are
help a lot.
videos that people can like look at.
And interact with.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. She finally agreed.
What I hate, okay?
One of the things I would like at some point go back and see on the 5 sites today that had the ballot on demand, how many mistakes were made, if any, versus like when I was at Andrews, somebody made a mistake and they had to correct it. The ballot on demand was not there, I don't believe. So, I mean, just something to sell the commissioners, because I would love to see that at
Yeah,
every place we have down the road. Of course, you gotta go back and ask for more money to do that, but.
Well, the problem out at where was it? Anderson Creek Fire Station. When they would print the ballot, the machine would pick up 2 pieces of paper.
yeah,
And then
sometimes.
print part, the head of the ballot on one, and then the rest of it on the
That's,
tag.
You have to pan it.
Yeah, I think, yeah, you gotta fan the ballots, but then also because they're brand new, they're not really worn in yet, so it's like, Jennifer said extra sticky, so I think as we use it, it'll break in, but they know, they have the policy, you know, of spoiling it and reprinting the ballot and correcting that issue.
The only complaint that I heard on the ballot on demand, and really I think this is any computer, if they had a little bit of a wait between somebody, the computer wanted to go to sleep. And then it took it a few
Well, it was.
milliseconds or whatever to wake back up.
It was the ink. The ink has to be a certain temperature.
Oh, yeah.
And the ink will go down and has to be, you know, and but
So
if
the
you
busier
use it
they
like
are,
that, it's
Yeah.
a
The
better
faster
problem.
it'll be.
Yeah, so. All right.
But other than that, I think it's all
It
positive.
works.
Now we have to figure out how to get, how many more ballot on the demand machine.
That's what she told Sarah, we need a number.
Get 5 more, maybe, okay. Anything from the director?
So the only other updates I had as far as election day, we do know that, you know, chalk is something that we need to get more of. And actually where we have ordered it from is like completely out. And we tried to look on Amazon, they didn't have it
So
either.
what is it?
Chalk
Oh,
for the 50 foot.
Yeah.
So I think we may start looking at some other alternatives to the spray chalk. But yeah, so we are looking at that. We know we need more signs and more training with the setup and sign placement. But overall, all sites opened on time today. Everybody was up and running at 6:30. Now, of course, we had our beginning jitters. You know, when you start off first thing in the morning, there's poll workers can't find this, and then they find it, or they have an issue with this printer, but then it starts working. But I want to say it was about 7:30, everybody was up and running, and the only questions we got after that were provisional questions and where does this person go to vote. I know we got a lot of phone calls, and I know you guys heard a lot of the sites from like the electioneers and campaigners and things, but we have not had any voter complaints today at all. So I think overall that's good. As of our 4 o'clock numbers, we had 3,825 to vote. So we'll see how many,
So
we'll get our final numbers,
At the end, it'll be somewhere around 10 or so,
maybe.
give or take.
I think between 2 and 4, countywide, we only did 1,000. Between 2
Well,
and 4, so
Just about now, it should be heavy, people getting off work.
getting off work and heading
Stop.
out there. So it'll be interesting to see what our closing numbers are. And I will say that I think separating the barbecues in Anderson Creek really did make a difference. I mean, I know we've had low turnout for this election, so it's not really a good marker. But I mean, if you look at the numbers between them, they pretty much were about even. So the way we split the precinct, we pretty much split those numbers in half between the two. So I'm hopeful when we get to the November election, that's gonna make a really big difference.
Also, I went by Western Harnett, just to see, like, if they were having any problem, or I just drove in the parking lot, and the sign that you
Did you see
had-
our sign?
Well, somebody had put it on the ground,
Oh.
and it had been on the ground for a while, because the grass was just like all stuck to
no.
it, so I set it up and put it back there, and the, Kathleen said that you had 2 signs out there.
Yeah, we had one at the road and one at the door.
And I think somebody stole the one on the road, because it was not, because there was not one on the road. But
During
there
high
was still
school
one.
kids.
Yeah.
It's probably
Yeah.
somebody's target practice.
But it's a nice sign, like, it would be to
Mhm.
lose it, but, anyway, I don't know if you got any complaints from Western Harnett that people were coming out there.
Not really. We put those signs up before early voting started, just so that people wouldn't be in there throughout early voting and election day.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else? So now we go to approving the absentee ballots, which there are 8.
8. Alright, so the first, 5 are civilians with the driver's license, and I'll pass it.
And we're going to recess
Yes, so we
over
need a
to the
motion.
office.
Motion to recess.
Yeah, we
Motion
need
to
recess.
Make a
All right, we need a motion. Motion.
I make a motion
that we
recess.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.